Then my dad got transferred to Carthage. I went 8 years of school in Carthage. Then he got bumped over here to Pittsburgh, and I moved here in the 9th grade. Well, it was very nice. I mean, I liked it here, the kids and everything. And this used to be strictly coal companies. We had 13 coal companies digging here, and the salaries were good, which we don't have hardly any fringe benefits, I mean, with high salaries. Well, I played baseball and basketball, and when I came, there was a girl in the 7th grade when I was in the 9th. She was a good athlete, and we just lived about a block apart, and we got visiting. So I started dating her before I went into service, and I graduated from high school here in '43, and I got drafted in September of '43. Yes, right after Pearl Harbor, they invented what they call the V-7 and V-12. Navy people, like on the Hornet, and that had gotten hurt, came back to go to school. They had over 100 and some students back there. So they had their cots all over the gymnasium at the college. So they practiced at the high school. After we got done, they played all their games there. So that's where I got to watch Dr. Lance and all of them coaching and playing. But I wanted to be a pilot, and they said, no, you got to be a navigator because your math was too good. So I went to Missoula, Montana University Navigation School, and I never dreamed, because you had that big mountain up on the north side of the school, and you had to go up it, and when you come down, it was every 15 feet was a barbed wire fence you had to jump over. If you didn't, you tore heck out of your legs. So about a week after that, the commanding officer called me in and said, if you work with kids that got C or below in math, you don't have to go up that mountain no more. I said, with pleasure, I'll do that. And I just liked 2 weeks of being a second lieutenant, but they withdrew 36,000 of us and put us in gunnery school. So then I had to go to Las Vegas for gunnery and then down to El Paso. So there were 6 of us, 18, and my pilot was 21. He was the oldest. And then it used to be a 10-man crew, but you cut one waist gunner out, made it 9. So then we went from El Paso to Lincoln, Nebraska to ship overseas. And then I was stationed at Suffolk, England, which was 72 miles northeast of London. There were 8 airfields within a 45 or 50-mile radius, and each one put up 25 planes a day for missions. So you had 4 different groups of 45, 45, and 45, carrying 200-pound bombs. Well, you knew you were in trouble, I mean, when you got close to the enemy lines, and because you ran into flak quite often. And then we was there when the D-Day too, and you saw all that. We were headed for Brandenburg, Germany, and we were just getting ready to open the Bombay doors, and we got caught with flak from the ground. It wasn't enemy planes, it was flak. And I said I didn't know exactly what had happened up in front, but my co-pilot called me and said, we're in trouble. Said, you got to drop that ball turret in a hurry, because that's 1,800 pounds. We lost both engines on the left side. And my pilot lost his left leg, and the engineer of the flak went through his stomach but didn't hit a vital spot. My radio man, it took the top of his head off, and mine just took a neck out of my skull. But then he said, you got to come up here in the front and sit in the pilot's seat and put your foot on the trim tab to level the plane. So my nickname became Bigfoot after that. That's all he called me, was Bigfoot. So when we got close, it was only flying about 900 feet above ground, and no enemy plane picked us up. So he said, now when my front wheels hit the ground, you've got to throw your parachute out the back because we got no brakes. So I had to go back and hook my harness up the rear axle, and I was stupid because when I threw it out, I stuck my head out to make sure it opened. And it's lucky the strand didn't take me with. I got out the back door and I kissed the ground in a hurry. And the P-51 had landed there by me, and I went over and he said, what are you doing over here? I said, I wanted to thank you for escorting us. He said, let me show you something. And he didn't have a gun either. He was taking pictures of the bomb site. I said, if I'd have known that, there'd been a brown streak from there clear to here. So when I came back, I started right back in, right where I was at. And I finished college then in 45. I should have graduated in 49, but I had one more year eligibility, and the coach talked me into coming back and playing again. Dr. Lance, he was a good coach, but the only thing I had trouble with him, we were all 3 or 4 years older than normal, and he would still try to cuss us all out. And I told him, I said, when the guys go around the corner, they're doing you a favor, they're smoking. But I said, if you've been through what they've been through, you'll probably do more than that. But he still wouldn't get over it. He would try to ball them out for doing all that. I played in 110 games, and that stood for 52 years. But see, we only played 16 to 18 games a month, per year, the first 2 or 3 months, years of school. Then they finally got bigger and bigger while you played more games. And then when we had the bowling out, she became an awful good bowler. Because her and I had a deal, whoever had the highest series during the week, the other had to do dishes. And I had dishwasher head quite often, and I went over to Okmulgee and I had a 289 game and a 720 series. And I go back Thursday night and said, I got a higher game and a higher series. She said, wait till Saturday night. And I couldn't believe it. The sports editor showed up and everything, and her first game was 299. The 5-pin wiggled and stood up. Monday I went and bought a dishwasher. Even in Joplin, we had a senior center. But Pittsburgh only had a Friday afternoon senior building for half a day. And that was it. Where all the others, Girard and Arma, all had one all week. And I talked to them and they said, well, and finally we got arguing. They said, well, if you can raise $33,000 in 9 days, we'll build one. So I went out and set a tent up by Walmart, right in front of Walmart's door, for 4 days, and I raised $29,700, and they said, the rest of the board said they'd go ahead and build it then. Because I go out and see a lot of the people out there that really need it. And they had games and everything there all the time. They played games, cards at night and during the day, and elderly people, where can they eat for $3.75? Well, my wife, she came down with ovary cancer, and She had never been sick in her life. When she was playing golf 18 to 27 holes 3 times a week, and then she started just playing 9 and coming home and telling me she had to lay down. So we went to the hospital and did an MRI. That's when they found the cancer. And that chemo knocked her for a loop. We had to give her 22 pints of blood. And the doctor said, "You know what that blood does?" She said, "Nope." He said, "That's the only thing keeping you alive." She said, "I want to quit blood. I don't want no more." So she didn't last too long after that. But I said, I can't complain because she did everything for me. Well, I spent all sports, basketball, football, baseball. I don't go to too many track meets or volleyball. I go some, but not a lot. But I know all the coaches. Well, I just like to see what a kid does, and if they get out of college, I want to see what kind of job they landed. To me, we've got a good school, and the coaches, they worry about the kids, and that's what I love. And when I go out there, they explain it to me. This guy's going to do this, that guy does that, or the girls. You just try to see what you can do to help them out, and they know my front door's open to them.